Good evening. This is Ned Nutley, and this is Willie Winkley. Tonight, our microphones are set up at the stately Wilting Hotel in Washington. We're going to bring you an on-the-spot report of a campaign dinner for the presidential hopeful John Finnerty. Good evening, Mr. Finnerty.
Hello to you, too.
Mr. Finnerty, we know you just completed a long campaign tour. How do you feel?
Well, I feel so fine.
Well, that's wonderful. Say, Mr. Finnerty, I hate to say anything, but I noticed you're wearing snowshoes. Where have you been?
North to Alaska.
Cold up there, huh? Oh, excuse me, Mr. Finnerty. I noticed some commotion outside the auditorium. Let's go now to Willie Winkley.
This is Willie Winkley outside. There seems to be as many Dixon supporters as Finnerty fans here tonight. They've been on hand most of the evening harassing the crowd as they made their way in. Right now they're singing the Dixon campaign song. Uh-oh, there may be some trouble now. Several Finnerty supporters have attacked the leader of this Dixon group. Good grief, they're tearing his clothes off. The police are moving in now. I'm going to try to get over there if I can. Excuse me, sir, you're on my mic cord.
Pardon me.
Here we are. Here's the leader of this Dixon group. Would you say something to our audience, sir?
What am I doing here?
This is Ned Nutley back on the rostrum. Mr. Finnerty, you no doubt heard that disturbance by the Dixon supporters. Do you have anything to say?
Why is everybody always picking on me?
Mr. Finnerty, according to the latest polls, your greatest strength is in the New England states. We know you're a native son, but what has really made you so popular?
I do the shimmy when I walk down the street.
Okay, now let's get down to issues, Mr. Finnerty. What is one of the biggest problems you face in this campaign?
People tell me I'm too young.
And what do you think?
Kitty, oh, don't you know that's wrong?
Oh, incidentally, Mr. Finnerty, I see both of your brothers are here tonight. Now, they've been quite active throughout your campaign. Is there anyone else back home that's carrying the Finnerty banner?
Yeah, you should see my little city.
And what has she done to help your campaign?
She wore an itsy-bitsy teeny-weeny yellow polka dot bikini.
Hey, Mr. Finnerty, we're going to let you go, but just one or two more questions. If you're elected, how do you plan to spend most of your time? And looking at the election realistically, what do you do if you lose?
You go downtown to the pawn shop and get yourself a pistol.
Thank you, Mr. John Finnerty. This is Ned Nutley on the rostrum.
And this is Willie Winkley on the wagon. We're on our way across town to attend a rally for the other candidate for president, Nick Dixon. We'll be back in just a moment.
This is Ned Nutley.
And this is Willie Winkley.
We've just arrived at Dixon for President headquarters. And I'm going to try to get to the podium to talk with Mr. Dixon. Excuse me, young man. You're blocking the aisle.
Pardon me.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. I'm at the podium now, and here is candidate Dixon. Mr. Dixon, you've got quite a crowd here tonight.
Look at them out there, running around like a bunch of wild Indians.
Let me ask you this, Mr. Dixon. How often are you holding your campaign meetings now that the election is just around the corner?
3 nights a week.
Mr. Dixon, you've just completed a whistle-stop tour through the South. What do you think your chances are in that part of the country?
1,000,000 to 1.
And what do you think caused this unpopularity in the southern states?
I do the shimmy when I walk down the street.
This is Willie Winkley. Mr. Dixon's lovely wife is also here tonight. Mrs. Dixon, election time is not far away. What's the first thing you want to do when the campaign is finally over? Well, that's fine, but getting down to more serious things, if your husband is elected, you as First Lady will have a great deal of influence. What would you suggest to him?
Good times, rough.
Well, thank you, Mrs. Nixon. Now back to Ned Nutley.
This is Ned Nutley. Mr. Dixon, just one or two more questions, if you don't mind. Looking back over the years, just what inspired you to go into politics in the first place?
Fortune.
And if you're elected, how do you plan to spend most of your time?
Driving that hot rod Lincoln.
And, sir, if you should lose, what will you be doing?
Making artificial flowers.
Thank you, Mr. Dixon. This is Ned Nutley.
And this is Willie Winkley. You've heard the views of both candidates here tonight, but of course the final decision is up to you. As for the people attending this dinner and rally, they're voicing their choice right now.